Look at your life right now. Look at it honestly. Whatever you see, the wins, the failures, the stagnation, you built it. Not your parents, not your boss, not the economy, not the people who doubted you. You stopped waiting for someone else to hand you permission to change. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. They are never coming. You must accept this truth today. You are the one holding yourself back, not the world. Not your past, you. And that is actually the best news you will ever hear, because if you are the one creating your limitations, you are also the one who can destroy them. Stop making excuses. Excuses are comfortable lies you tell yourself so you don't have to face the truth. I don't have time. I don't have the resources. I wasn't given the same chances. Cut it out. Right now, someone with less than you, with a harder story than you, is out there building the life you say you want. The difference between them and you isn't talent, it isn't luck, it is ownership. They stopped blaming and started building. You must do the same today. Not next week, not after the holidays, today. Now understand this. Nothing changes until you decide. I wish, not one. Decide. A real decision cuts off every other option. That is what the word means at its root, to cut away. Most people never decide anything. They prefer we'll see. They live their entire lives in the waiting room, hoping something outside of them will force the change they're too scared to choose for themselves. Stop waiting. The moment you make a real decision, not a preference, not a hope, but a decision, your brain, your focus, your actions, all of it shifts immediately. Think about the biggest changes in your life. They didn't happen gradually, they happened in an instant. A moment where you said, never again. A moment where you looked in the mirror and said, enough. That is the power of decision. It is instantaneous. You don't need 10 years to change your life. You need 10 seconds of a real decision followed by action that matches it. So ask yourself right now, what decision have you been avoiding? What truth have you been dodging? Because deciding means you have to actually act. You must stop negotiating with your own excuses. You must stop consulting fear before you decide. Decide first, let the how come later. The how always comes later. It comes to those who move, not those who wait. You owe it to yourself to stop being a passenger in your own life. Grab the wheel. Make the decision. Do it now, because the life you want is on the other side of a choice you keep refusing to make. Comfort feels safe. Comfort feels good. Comfort's also killing you slowly, one avoided challenge at a time. You must understand this now. Growth and comfort cannot exist in the same space. Every day you choose the easy path, you are choosing a smaller version of yourself. You are choosing to shrink, and nobody tells you this directly, so let it be said plainly. The comfortable life is the dangerous life. It numbs you. It convinces you that mediocrity is fine, that good enough is enough. It is not enough, not for you, not for what you are capable of. Stop settling into routines that ask nothing of you. Stop choosing the predictable over the possible. Your comfort zone was built to keep you safe from failure, but it also keeps you safe from success. It keeps you safe from the version of yourself you were meant to become. Every single person you admire, every person who built something extraordinary, walked directly into discomfort and stayed there long enough to grow. They didn't wait until it felt easy. They moved while it was hard. You must do the same. Growth demands friction. It demands difficulty. It demands you do the thing that makes your stomach turn, the conversation you've been avoiding, the leap you've been postponing, the skill you've been too afraid to attempt. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Ready is a myth. Ready is something you become after you start, not before. Now let's talk about your standards, because your standards, not your goals, determine the actual shape of your life. Goals are things you want. Standards are things you demand of yourself no matter what. Most people set goals and never think about them again. But your standards operate every single day, whether you are paying attention or not. If your standard is to survive, you will survive. If your standard is to dominate, to build, to rise, you will find a way every time. You must raise your standards immediately, not someday. Now look at what you currently tolerate. In your health, your work, your relationships, your money, your discipline, whatever you tolerate, you are choosing stop tolerating mediocrity from yourself. Stop accepting excuses from yourself that you wouldn't accept from anyone else. The moment you raise your standard, your behavior has no choice but to follow. You will find energy you didn't know you had. You will find discipline you thought was missing. It wasn't missing. It was buried under a low standard you accepted without question. This is the truth you owe yourself. Comfort will not build the life you dream about, and low standards will not produce a high life. You must choose discomfort on purpose. You must raise the bar and refuse to lower it. No matter how loud the excuses get, do it now, not tomorrow. The life you want is waiting on the other side of the standard you are finally willing to hold. Knowledge without action is worthless. You can read every book, watch every seminar, collect every strategy, and still stay exactly where you are. Why? Because information doesn't change your life. Application does. You must stop hiding behind learning as a substitute for doing. So many people confuse preparation with progress. They tell themselves they're still researching, still planning, still getting ready. And years pass years. Meanwhile, the answer was never in another book, another course, another podcast. The answer was in the action you kept postponing. Stop waiting until you know everything. You will never know everything. The people who win aren't the ones with the most knowledge. They're the ones who take what little they know and move immediately. They learn by doing, by failing, by adjusting in real time. That is how mastery actually happens. Not from a comfortable chair, absorbing theory, but from the arena, getting things wrong and getting back up smarter. You must enter the arena today, right now. Whatever you've been preparing for, you are ready enough to start. Massive action is the bridge between where you are and where you say you want to be, not moderate action, not when I have time action. Massive, immediate, uncomfortable action. Small steps taken occasionally will not produce the life you are demanding for yourself. You must move like your future depends on it, because it does. Now let's talk about fear, because fear is the greatest liar you will ever listen to. Fear tells you that you are not ready. Fear tells you that you'll be judged. Fear tells you that failure will destroy you. None of it is true. Fear doesn't protect you from danger anymore. It protects you from growth. It protects you from becoming who you are capable of becoming. And every day you obey it, you hand over another piece of the life you were meant to build. You must stop asking fear for permission. Fear will never say yes. It is not designed to say yes. It is designed to keep you exactly where you are, because where you are feels survivable. But survivable is not the same as fulfilled. Survivable is not the same as alive. The boldest moves you will ever make in your life will happen on the other side of fear, not the absence of it. Courage isn't the removal of fear. It is action taken despite it. Stop waiting for fear to disappear before you act. It won't disappear, you act. And only then does it lose its grip. Every single time you move forward while afraid, fear gets stronger and you get stronger. That is the trade. That is the deal you must be willing to make with yourself starting today. You owe yourself movement. You owe yourself the courage to act on partial information with a pounding heart, with sweaty palms, because that is where real transformation lives. And it is calling you right now. Stop comparing yourself to everyone around you. Stop measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel. It is a losing game with no finish line, because there will always be someone ahead of you, someone younger, someone faster, someone who seems to have it easier. That comparison will bleed you dry if you let it. You must redirect that energy toward the only competition that actually matters. You against who you were yesterday. Your only real rival is the person you were this time last year. Are you sharper? Are you stronger? Are you more disciplined, more skilled, more courageous? That is the scoreboard that counts. Not their house, not their income, not their body, not their relationship, yours against yours. When you make that shift, something powerful happens. You stop wasting energy on jealousy and resentment, and you start pouring all of it into your own growth. You must compete with yourself relentlessly every single day, because that competition never runs out and it never lies to you. Push yourself to beat your own record. Read one more page than yesterday. Make one more call than last week. Push one more rep than last month. Small margins compounded daily. Create a person unrecognizable from where they started. Stop chasing other people's pace. Set your own and then break it over and over until breaking your own limits becomes your identity. Now understand this. Your energy is the engine behind everything you do. Your state controls your actions, and your actions control your results. You cannot execute at a high level from a low, drained, defeated state. It is physically and mentally impossible. You must learn to manage your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Your body, your breath, your posture, what you consume, who you surround yourself with. All of it is either fueling you or draining you. There is no neutral. Stop letting your emotions run wild without direction. Stop waking up and letting the first negative thought of the day set your entire tone. You must take charge of your state on purpose. Move your body, change your breathing, change your posture, change the words you use when you talk to yourself. Language shapes emotion, and emotion shapes action. If you keep telling yourself you are exhausted, overwhelmed, and stuck, you will feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and stuck. Change the words, and you begin to change the state. High achievers are not high achievers because life handed them constant motivation. They built the skill of generating their own energy on command, regardless of circumstances. That is a skill. It can be trained. You must train it starting today. Every morning is a decision point. Will you let your state be dictated by chance, or will you take command of it deliberately? You owe yourself the discipline to compete only with your own potential and the mastery to generate unstoppable energy on demand. No matter what the day throws at you, stop waiting for the perfect moment because it does not exist. You have been telling yourself, when things settle down, when I have more money, when I feel ready. And that moment keeps moving further away. Doesn't it? That is not an accident. It is avoidance disguised as patience. The truth is this: massive change does not require years. It requires a moment. One decision made with total conviction, followed immediately by action. That is where transformation actually lives. Not in some distant future version of you who finally has it together. Right now. In this moment, you must stop postponing your own life. Think about it, honestly. Every major shift you've ever experienced, a relationship that changed you, a loss that woke you up, a moment of clarity that redirected everything, none of those happened gradually. They happened in an instant, and then the after effects unfolded over time. That is how real change works. It is not a slow crawl toward improvement. It is a decision that flips a switch, and then consistent action sustains what the decision started. You don't need another 5 years to become who you want to be. You need one decision you are finally willing to keep. Stop waiting for motivation to strike before you act. Motivation is a byproduct of action, not a prerequisite for it. Move first, feeling will follow. You must create the moment instead of waiting to stumble into it. Say it out loud right now. If you have to, this is the moment, and then prove it with what you do in the next 60 minutes. And here's the final truth, the one underneath everything else. You owe yourself the life you are actually capable of living, not the life that was convenient, not the life that avoided conflict, not the life that played it safe to keep everyone else comfortable, the life you were capable of, the one buried under years of excuses, fear, low standards, and comfort. That life has been waiting for you the entire time. You must stop betraying your own potential. Every day, you choose comfort over growth. Every day, you let fear make your decisions. Every day you settle for a version of yourself smaller than what you know is possible. You are breaking a promise, not to your family, not to your boss, to yourself. And that is the debt that matters most. Because at the end of it all, you are the one who has to live with what you built or what you failed to build. So stop waiting. Stop negotiating with your own excuses. Stop asking for permission that will never come. You must decide right now that today is the moment everything changes, not because life got easier, but because you got serious. You owe yourself that seriousness. You owe yourself that fight. You owe yourself that fight. You owe yourself the full, uncompromising, unapologetic version of the life you were always capable of living. Let's bring this all together, because everything you just heard points to one simple, undeniable truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's coming to hand you the life you want. Nobody's coming to make the decision for you, to build your discipline for you, to face your fears for you. It was always going to be you. It was always going to come down to this moment, right here, right now, where you decide whether you keep living the smaller story or finally step into what you were built for. You are the one holding yourself back, and you're also the only one who can tear that wall down. Stop blaming the past, stop blaming other people, stop blaming circumstances that everyone else has faced and overcome. Make the decision, not a wish, not a hope, a real cut off every other option decision. That is where change begins, not years. Get out of your comfort zone and stay out of it, because comfort was never going to build the life you're chasing. Raise your standards and refuse to lower them again, because your standards, not your goals, are shaping your life every single day, whether you are watching or not. Stop collecting more information and start taking massive action, because the answer was never in one more book. It was in the move you kept avoiding. Stop letting fear cast the deciding vote. Fear is a liar, and the only way to shrink it is to act anyway, afraid and all. Compete with yourself, beat yesterday's version of you, and let that be the only scoreboard you check. Take command of your energy, because your state drives your actions, and your actions drive your results. There is no version of life you want built from a drained, defeated state. And remember, massive change happens in a moment, not 5 years from now, not when things settle down. Now, this moment, if you let it, can be the one everything pivots around. So here is the question you must answer. Honestly, what have you been putting off? What decision have you been avoiding? What standard have you been quietly lowering just to make today easier? Whatever it is, stop right now. You must do it now, because ladder has been lying to you for years, and you know it. You owe yourself more than excuses. You owe yourself more than comfort. You owe yourself more than a life shaped by fear and low standards and endless waiting. You owe yourself the version of you that shows up, that decides, that acts, that refuses to shrink. That version has been waiting patiently, and it is done waiting. Stand up, decide, move. Today is the day you stop owing yourself an explanation for why you didn't, and start giving yourself a life you never have to apologize for. You owe it to yourself. Now go and collect the debt